All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever wished you could get the full power of Kubernetes for all your development work, but, without that massive cloud bill? Well, today we're going to explore a tool chain that does exactly that. We're talking about bringing AI-assisted development right onto your laptop, making everything simpler, faster, and just a whole lot cheaper.
I mean, if you've ever opened a cloud bill just for testing and felt your stomach drop, or maybe you've spent days, literal days, just trying to get a complex production environment to run on your local machine, you know exactly the headache we're talking about. It's a pain we all know in modern software development, right?
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about that modern deployment headache. Then we'll set up our own local Kubernetes playground. After that, we'll meet the AI assistants that are total game changers. We'll put them to work. And finally, we'll take a look at what's next, spec-driven automation.
All right, first up, the modern deployment headache. Let's really dig into what the problem is that we're trying to solve here. You know how it is. Our apps aren't simple monoliths anymore. They're these complex webs of microservices. And trying to copy that entire cloud setup onto your laptop, it's a nightmare. And it's not just that it's expensive and complicated. The real killer is that it just slows everything down. It completely destroys those fast feedback loops that we absolutely need to build good software. So what's the answer? Well, we just stop. We stop trying to perfectly replicate the cloud. Instead, we build our own powerful local Kubernetes playground right on our own machines. And the best part? It costs basically nothing. And the key to this is a tool called Minikube. Seriously, think of it like your own personal flight simulator, but for Kubernetes. It gives you this totally safe, isolated space where you can experiment, you can learn, you can test out any deployment you want, and you're not spending a single penny on cloud resources or waiting around for some remote server to spin up. Okay, so this is the tech stack we're working with. For containerization, we've got Docker, of course. For orchestration, that's where Kubernetes, or Minikube in our case, comes in. To package it all up, we're using Helm, which is basically like a package manager for K8s. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is that last piece, the AI DevOps tools that tie this whole thing together. All right, now for my favorite part of this whole setup. It's time to meet your new AI assistants. Think of them as expert co-pilots for your development workflow. The idea here is actually really simple. Just imagine having a DevOps genius whispering in your ear. Instead of having to memorize a million different commands or fighting with super complex YAML files, you just have this assistant ready to translate what you want into what the machine needs to do. So, first up we have Gordon. This is the Docker AI agent. It's actually built right into Docker Desktop now, and its whole job is to help you with all things containers, building images, running them, you name it.
And getting started with it is so easy. You can literally just open your terminal and type Docker AI, what can you do, and it will just tell you what it's capable of. The barrier to entry, it's just gone.
Okay, now for Kubernetes itself, we've got Kube Control AI. This thing is a total game changer. It's a plugin that lets you manage your entire cluster just by talking to it in natural language. It takes that famously steep Kubernetes learning curve and just flattens it into a simple conversation. I mean, just look at this example. Instead of having to sit down and write out a whole complicated YAML file, you can just tell it what you want. Deploy the to-do front end with 2 replicas. That's it. It just understands your intent and then generates all the necessary Kubernetes stuff for you. It's amazing.
Now, for those more advanced situations, there's another tool called Kagent. This is what you reach for when you need to go a level deeper. We're talking about analyzing the health of your entire cluster or trying to figure out how to optimize your resource usage. So let's say something's acting weird, or you just need a big picture view of what's going on. A simple command like kagent analyze the cluster health can give you these incredibly powerful insights, and you don't have to be a deep diagnostics expert to understand it. So here's how to think about the two. You use kubectl AI for your day-to-day stuff, to get things done and move really fast. Then, when you need to zoom in and tackle a more complex problem, that's when you bring in Kagent for the heavy-duty diagnostics and optimization. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's actually put these tools to work and see how they handle a real-world task, shall we? So here's our objective. We're going to take this to-do chatbot application, and our goal is to get it fully deployed on our local Minikube cluster using nothing but our new AI assistants. And the process is actually pretty straightforward. It's just 3 steps. First, we'll use Gordon, our Docker AI assistant, to get the app's front end and back end into containers. Step 2, we'll ask Kube Control AI, or Kagent, to generate the Helm charts we need. And then finally, step 3, we just deploy the whole thing onto our local Minikube cluster. Simple as that? Now, this workflow is already super powerful, right? But what's really exciting is that it's just a little glimpse of a much, much bigger shift that's happening. So let's zoom out and look at where all of this is actually heading. And this leads us to the big, forward-looking question. Is this kind of spec-driven development the key to automating the entire future of infrastructure? I mean, we're talking about a world where we stop manually commanding our infrastructure piece by piece. Instead, we just describe the final state we want, and we let automated systems figure out how to make it happen. And this isn't science fiction. This is the cutting edge of research right now. People are actively exploring how to use these high-level specs to automate everything. They're figuring out how to make our conversations with these AI agents get smarter over time. And maybe most importantly, they're working on how we govern these incredibly powerful agents to make sure they're always operating safely and doing what we expect. So what this all points to is a really fundamental shift in our jobs. We're moving away from being operators who just execute commands, and we're becoming architects who design outcomes. That changes everything. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In a future that's driven by your intent, not by your specific instructions, how is that going to change the way you build software?